High spots and cheap pops, ladies and gentlemen, Silicon Steve Valley, Vladi Dottie, we are here. And Vladi Dottie, we are just about a week removed from Bulletclub Gold in a 2 out of 3 falls with, and I think we might be actually saying definitively, the best tag team of all time, FTR, and they continue to pump out classic after classic. And many people are saying it was the best tag team match on American television, and the best tag team match since Romohomo Hasaka and Mana Hujiti versus Yamasaki Naguti and Jim Brown back in 1987 at the Tokyo Dome.
That sounds like a hell of a match. I'm gonna have to go research that one.
Well, Meltzer gave it 9 stars.
Now, is this Jim Brown, the Cleveland Brown?
Yeah, it was a big payday. It was kind of like a Lawrence Taylor gig, but it was in Japan.
Is this before or after Dirty Dozen?
It was after.
Oh, wow. So he must have needed the money.
But it was right before I'm Gonna Get You Sucker.
Oh, okay.
Which is
all right.
Another Jim Brown classic. Had a big.
So, yeah, getting back to the greatest tag team match. I don't know how we got to fucking Jim Brown, but yeah, the greatest tag team match all time, FTR, Bulletclub Gold.
So, Vladi Dottie, we were talking about during pre-production. None of that happened. We were talking about during pre-production. Was this the best tag team match you've ever seen on American television, which includes some classic WCW, old TBS matches? I've been trying to think, but where does this rank? Does any tag team match even come to mind that would come close to this classic?
I'd have to say no. Sort of rewatching this a bit, watching some highlights again, looking at the circumstances, the way they built this match, all the little nuances of it as well. They're telling a good story here. Here's something that's a thing of beauty. 2 out of 3 falls. The way they handled it during the course of the match in terms of building up Jay White looked incredible in this. He arrived. There it is. Listen, in regards to the way basically he was being used previously versus this, just perfect for his character to get this faction established. Rock hard Juice Robinson. He is going to become a cult favorite. He bumps so damn good for everybody. He's a character out there. And the way they worked with FTR in this match built up not only Bulletclub Gold, but those two guys in particular, and just the way they worked with FTR and how FTR set the table for them on this. and just the way they sold for each other, Bulletclub Gold getting the first fall, building up that tension, and here we are in Western Canada. It was Calgary, Alberta, I believe.
Calgary, right? Alberta, Canada.
And who can appreciate that match more? I don't think another specific crowd. That was a love letter to Bret Hart, that whole 58 minutes.
The finish itself.
Yes.
Dax 100%. Winning with the sharpshooter,
Yes.
I mean, that's Dax living out a dream right there. And Dax Harwood, and Cash, they both are great. But
yes.
The way, because I was able to really listen. I listened to almost, I believe, every single episode, maybe not the last 2, but almost every single episode of the Dax Harwood podcast. And you listen to how he broke down matches and how he understands how to build these matches. I think he's a big part of it. And we talked about it. He's going to be a phenomenal producer one day if he so chooses to stay in the business. The guy is absolutely brilliant. Jay White and Juice Robinson, me, I've been telling you how good they are when they were in New Japan last year. And I've said it time and time again. And people sometimes laugh at me when I say it. Jay White is easily, and it's not close, the best Bullet Club leader in the history of Bullet Club. And it's not close. What he did at a young age, 2 main events, 2 Tokyo Dome main events. First and only Grand Slam winner in New Japan history. And he did it all before the age of 30. And not only can he wrestle and put on those classic matches that the marks, quote unquote, the nerd fans like, he can also tell you the stories and cut your promos and get you to feel inside the ring, which is not quite as common in AEW, at least at the top of the card, as it would be maybe with WWE, for example. You know, they always make sure the faces are big, make sure you're selling the emotion. You don't get that as much in AEW, at least the subtleties, as well as Jay White. And honestly, Jay White might be one of the best in the game with those just subtle ways he just adds to the match in terms of his character, how he reacts to things. And that includes his promos. I mean, I think I showed you one of his promos one time after he lost the Tokyo Dome main event. And it's just, you feel what this guy is doing so much. I am a monster Jay White fan, and I hope it's not too long till we see he is the AEW world champion. Couple years, hopefully, tops.
Yeah, and I could see that happening. And something you mentioned, the nerd fan appreciating something. Look at this match.
This is us, by the way. By the way, this is us. Yeah. We appreciate these matches.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and this is my this could be like a dream match for me in ways. 58 minutes. I'd love to see the percentage of that match that actually took place inside the ring, and it's probably like 93%. They were inside that ring the vast majority of the time. There's no bullshit on the outside. They weren't necessarily, getting too much furniture involved or anything like that. They just had a great athletic contest between two very, very good tag teams. And you know what? FTR is amazing, man. And they could very well be the greatest tag team of all time before it's all said and done. They're that damn good.
Yeah, I think they are. I think they're my favorite already.
Yeah.
And what they have accomplished, don't forget, what they accomplished becoming the most popular tag team in the world, despite not getting any push on television. They did it because the matches they were having outside of AEW, in Ring of Honor. Now, granted, it was under the AEW banner, but the matches in Ring of Honor with the Briscoes, obviously. The matches that they had with Aussie Open. FTR built their legacy by themselves on a grassroots way, and now they're undeniable. Now it's like you're saying, Young Bucks who? Let's be honest. This match was absolutely brilliant and fantastic. It just was something that, as a professional wrestling fan, it does your heart good to see this in prime time. And it just was one of those tag matches that really got you going. I was concerned it was going to go the time limit. They were actually going to, which
I like how they foreshadowed that too with the actual announcement.
Because they did it to us a few times, Yeah.
And it's sort of like we've seen this happen. Most recently with MJF. Oh, look at you, Kenny. Look at you go.
I'm trying to cover the bottle so we don't get sued and lose all our millions of dollars.
I thought you were just doing Kenny Omega drinking water.
That's what it was too. That was the genesis of it. But now I'm like, hey, I'm going to cover that it says smart water because it's not. Truth be told, it's not smart water. It's Deer Park.
I mean, truthfully, it's the funniest joke on BTE.
For about a year now.
Yeah, exactly. They've had a bit of a cold spell. But yeah, it just. Dude, that's a match where if anybody is ever interested in wrestling, professional wrestling, and says, hey, you know what? I want to see like a good match. What do you think? That's towards the top of the list right there. You have somebody for an hour, and the way they built up the drama through it, the close pins, the close calls during the match, it just keeps you on the edge of their seat. And just like honestly, like you mentioned, Dax and even Cash had a hell of a match, man. He's like showing more sides of his athleticism as well recently.
Yeah,
he's a badass guy, man. It's just
they're both brilliant. I mean, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
In terms of in ring, I don't know if either one's better than the other. I prefer Dax because I like how snug he is. He's snug, as they call it.
Yeah.
He would work great. And he's the kind of guy that would go over to Japan and he could be a top guy there. He really could be.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I hate to say it, but maybe not 100% with his size, but he can definitely be a guy that holds an Intercontinental title. And he has a big future if you ever wanted to go singles. But Cash, with his deal is that he can kind of be more of the athletic guy now because he's a baby face. So we can do the flippy stuff. Not that it's 100% flippy, but the dives and the more athletic stuff because it plays to who they are now. And who would have thought that when they were at the top of the game in NXT, when they were doing these kinds. That's the thing. It's not like this just started where they started having these great matches. These guys have been having classic match after classic match after classic match after classic match. You can go on and on and on. I mean, Jesus Christ, it seems so long ago, American Alpha and DIY were their big time rivalries. Yeah. But they've done this with almost seemingly a dozen tag teams they've had these classic matches with. That's the true mark of what a great tag team does. And that's a reality. That's why I don't know if there's a better tag team in the history of the game than FTR. Not to mention, nobody, in my opinion, is ever going to win all the championships that they won.
Right.
We're NXT, SmackDown, Raw, AEW, AAA, and Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor.
I mean, the only thing they got to win is
New
the
Japan.
Impact titles. And not that
New
who
Japan.
the fuck? And no one's taking that off of my boy Ace Austin. He's a champ. Come on.
Right. It's not even part of the discussion. But even they went to Japan and won the tag belts there. I mean, this is incredible, you know, and this is what's really good. It's a good time to be like a professional wrestling fan. I appreciate it. Listen, you know, you and I are we can critique things here, right? With AEW specifically in recent years. However, this is a positive of Tony Khan, where we are right now. He's letting these guys roll with it. Thank God for Collision. It's like, hey, you know what? I grew up on Saturday wrestling seeing at a 605, and I always knew it was going to be like a different show than WWE. It was a little bit more realistic, if you will. And what I'm seeing here on Saturday nights is a competent show. It's cohesive. We're seeing some storylines play out. And by the way, we're seeing really good matches. They took an hour of that TV time and put on the classic. And it's great to be a wrestling fan right now, and because of moments like that.
Thank you so much for watching. Hi, Spots and Cheap Pops. Hit that subscribe button and be good to each other.